Oh, yeah. And you'll never see me coming. What is going on? What is cracking? Ding, fries are done. Ding, fries are done. What is going on? The Kung Fu Christmas Avengers are back and have returned for another episode of Versus. That's right. Today we have two. We're keeping that tradition. Holiday action films going head to head. We have Batman Returns today going against Iron Man 3. We wanted to sneak in Shazam, but we didn't have that much goddamn time. So it'll be 5-hour stream, and people got things to do. But it's going to be a blast. It's going to be fun getting all these badasses together with one great ass. That's right. And we're going to talk about cinema. What we got? Oh, we got Alex Chung in the house. What's going on, brother? How you doing, my friend?
Good. How's everyone
That's right.
else?
He is back. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have the tag team champions of metal and horror.
Yeah.
DJ Anubis and Neko in the house. That's right. And Rob from Entertainment Talk Nation, son. That's how we roll. The legend is back. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good. Go see Spider-Man.
All right.
Just want to get a quick
You
plug
heard
in
it from
there.
Rob. Go see Spider-Man.
I want people to see it fast so I can start talking about it. That's why.
Yeah.
It's like, how long can you keep a secret, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have no idea.
And we have Ian from Retro Serial returning. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on.
That's right. And we have the Author. That's right. The Author, Hall of Famer, Films of Fury. What is going on? Y'all know what to do. Get the book. Kung Fu Santa himself, Ric Meyers. How you doing, brother? He is returned.
Good. I've got a full fashion show tonight. I got the Batman socks. I got the Batman Christmas sweater. I'm ready to go.
Right.
You can do the bat dance.
Oh, I
You can do the bat dance.
Honor's your favorite one of them here.
That's right. After he orders that bat milk, son, from the bar. That's how Batman rolls back in the day. And y'all better, but go out and buy that book. Don't be naughty, because Kung Fu Santa come get you now. You don't want that. He'll come get you.
That's a Super Saiyan form.
And we got Mr. Tony of the Dead in the house.
Tony. Oh, look at this.
Ooh.
What is that?
She made an appearance.
I made out with her.
Yeah.
Does that count? Does that count?
I'm terrified of her, so I have to do something.
Get over your fears.
Just give it time, Tony. You're gonna be like, hey, she's kind of hot. If I look at her this way with the light, shining, I don't know.
If I look at her in the dark, she's kind of hot.
And we have the master of Remaster, Frank Djeng, is back posing. Oh yeah, that's how we do.
That's how we
The
roll.
legend is here with the Santa hat.
A legend.
That's right.
The legend.
Eureka
how we
Films, 88 Films. Make sure you guys go out and buy everything because they're doing a phenomenal job. And you want to make sure you hear Frank Djeng's commentary. That's right. And also, as a quick bonus, make sure you guys check out Jungo Plus. That's
Jungo.
Right. Make sure you guys check
Jungo.
out the app.
Jungo.
Make sure you guys check out the app.
Awesome.
Black Belt Theater has arrived. Hosted by Cynthia Rothrock. Check it out.
Oh,
Martial
cool.
Arts. What's up?
Right,
That's cool. Cynthia.
Yeah,
I thought
yeah.
that was
So
her. I
make
wasn't
sure you guys
100% sure.
check
Jungo.
out the app.
So is it something you can get like on your TV?
Yes,
There
and
you go,
also
Frank.
on your phone, it's free. It's ad supported, so there's no monthly subscription fee. It's all free.
Oh,
That's
there
awesome.
you go.
I can't
Black
wait.
Belt Theater is
You're already
back.
waiting.
Ah!
Oh,
I'm going to take royalties on
martial
that.
arts.
buddy.
That's right. And Samurai Guy is not sponsored. I'm just spreading the word and sharing the love. That's how we do it here. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. Batman Returns. I will kick it off. I will go first. Oh, hold on a second. We got to say hello to the Movie Dojo Army before we get into it here.
Don't forget them.
That's right.
Our bread
See
and
who we
butter.
got bread and butter. Here we go. Who we got up in here? We got a lot of people here. We got Lady Danish. That's right. John Martinez, Jake Hall, Victoria's in the house. That's right. Adam. Oh yeah. Who else? We got Sexy Sumo here. Patrick's here.
The sexy sumo.
Oh yeah. Yep. Brandon, Robert, Michael, Bob Odenson, Jonathan, the Briscoe. Oh yeah, they're trickling in. And Omniblast in the house. Zamora. All right, enough of that. Let's go ahead and get into it. Batman Returns. So for Samurai Guy, the first Batman was probably one of the greatest movie-going experiences I've ever had in my entire life. Because Little Samurai Guy didn't see 5 billion trailers. Little Samurai Guy didn't see 5 billion TV spots. I barely saw anything on TV. So we were in the mall one day, and my dad was like, hey, no, it was my older sister. She was like, hey, there's this Batman movie out. Let's go see it. And I was just like, yes. Right? And I was completely blown away by Batman. I was just like completely blown away. Some time went by, Batman Returns came out. A lot of hype for it came out. And I went to go see it. And I liked it, but I had issues with it. It was weird. It was weird. Like I liked it, but it was just something fell off. I don't know what it was. But I love Batman so much. I bought it on VHS. I bought it on DVD. Batman Returns I'm talking about. And then, I bought it on Blu-ray and all that stuff. And I would occasionally revisit it throughout the years. And I started to nitpick and be kind of like about it, right? Like, I didn't like that, but I like this. I was always back and forth with Batman Returns. However, over time, I ended up appreciating it more, which I wasn't expecting, especially, we're going to be getting it on 4K soon. So that tells you right there. So I really enjoy the movie. I mean, this has to be Danny Elfman's best score. Like, this is like one of his best scores in the history of him doing, orchestral, albums. Yeah. And it's just so good. And it's just a fun movie, man. It's like, it's not perfect. It's not perfect, but it still feels dark, gritty, grimy. And I remember at the time, parents were complaining, it's too dark and violent and gritty for my children. So, Samurai Guy's going to like it a little bit more. If the parents are complaining, I'll be like, yeah, woo, gritty, dark, grimy. Yeah.
If the parents hate it, go and see it.
Yeah, pretty much.
Exactly.
Remember they were selling Happy Meals too.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
that's true.
Not very happy, is it?
But yeah, the score is phenomenal. We have some fun characters, and I don't want to talk too much about it, but I still really enjoy it. I've grown to love it more over the years. So that's enough of my yakking. All right, Rick. Unless you want me to come back to you.
Second, wow. Well, I'm very similar to you in terms, although I was much older when I saw it. I went with my comic book buddy, the late Mike Robb. He owned a chain of comic book stores in Connecticut called the Dream Factory. And we had been bemoaning for many years how badly Hollywood was treating superheroes. And so after the original Batman, I always remember that he leaned over to me when the Bat plane went in front of the moon and created the Bat signal. Yeah, he leaned over to me and said, haven't you been waiting all your life to see that? And I was going, yeah. And then, of course, I was on the set of Superman, the Christopher Reeve, Richard Donner one, for a month, reporting on it for Starlog. So that was also a good sign. So I was hopeful for Batman Returns, because, again, I was very impressed that Tim Burton cast Michael Keaton, because I'd always wondered. I have a full page in Detective Comics number 500, where I talk about the things that comic books needed to do to make comic book movies believable. And one of the things with Batman was, what if Batman did not grow up to be a 6'5", 250-pound, muscle-bound guy? And that's what Tim Burton seemed to understand as well. That's what was so great about Michael Keaton. So I go into Batman Returns, and yeah, I mean, look at that. Look at the intensity. He's a comedian. He's just a great job, and that's why he's still working today and is being used by all the different universes. But I had the same issue, although for different reasons that you had, Samurai. Something was wrong, and what was wrong was I was really, really, really involved until they added a second villain.
Exactly.
And it was like Catwoman is so good. I mean, even in the opening introduction that you put on, every single scene that you showed with Catwoman was riveting. And if they'd done the whole movie about Catwoman, it would have been a classic forever. But they kept putting in Penguin, and the Penguin might have been great for the third one. They could have introduced him in the third one. But in this movie, he was a distraction. And also he didn't mesh. The story never meshed. I mean, his story was completely different than the Catwoman story. and every time he was on screen, I was going, oh, come on, get back to Catwoman. So I saw it again for this effort, and it's the same problem.
Right.
Same problem. It will never be a great movie as long as they have too many villains. And especially two incompatible villains. And you can see that in the subsequent Batmans, too. Riddler and Two-Face never meshed. I mean, and they keep making that mistake. It's always the movie with one villain that usually winds up being better. So that's all I have to say. Oh, yes, but I do have my Batman Christmas shirt.
Nice.
Also wanted to show you, I have my Robin socks.
I'm very happy.
Let me blow it up.
Blow it up.
Come into play later. Carry on, everybody.
I want to see the Riddler underwear, though, right?
With the question marks, a bunch of question marks on your underpants.
They're all ninja-roos.
Ninja-roos?
So, I just got a personal message from E-Rock. He's still trying to make it.
Aww.
Yeah, he's in traffic right now, so he still might pop in later. So,
Who's that?
shout out to E-Rock. Frank.
There you go.
I agree with what Rick said. I think the film is an amazing film. I loved this one even more than the first film. I mean, again, this is one of the rare instances where, I felt the sequel somehow got, dug deeper into the psyche of Batman and, the problem and issue. It's really one of the first comic book or superhero movie where it really explored the dark side of vulnerability of a superhero, and then how in the end, he tore off his mask. We're both the same. He spoke to Catwoman. I mean, opening sequence is amazing with Pee Wee Herman and the birth of Penguin. Even though I like I said, I agree. They really shouldn't have Penguin in this film. I think having two villains and an incompatible villain, like Rick said, hurt the film. But that said, there's still some pretty amazing sequences in this film. The whole opening, after the birth of the Penguin, the opening credit, and then the clown attack, it's fantastic stuff. I still remember people were like kind of gasping when Batman burned up those clowns. Like, wow, that's really, that's pretty violent, So, but I like it. I like my superhero movie dark, and then the Christmas atmosphere is great. Danny Elfman scored it. Yeah, wonderful. Better than the first film. I thought the score. And that whole climactic scene set inside a zoo with the Penguin. The Penguin character by itself is not good, but the surroundings of it, the Penguin army, all that was actually pretty nicely done. I like the Penguin army and all that. But Michelle Pfeiffer, what can you say? She's pretty amazing. She's Catwoman. The scene in the department store, the whipping, the microwave, blowing up microwave, and all that stuff. I think she's. But you just look at it, like he's not menacing at all. I just couldn't. He's just not a threatening villain. I'm sorry, and I'm hoping that with a new Batman film, with Colin Farrell as the Penguin, hopefully that will be a bit better. But with that said, this is a classic. I would often watch it from time to time, and like Rick, I would skip the part with the Penguin. I'm sorry, I just skipped it. It's not it just doesn't jive. But great sequel, great film. Tim Burton did a wonderful job, and Michael Keaton. Yeah, Michael Keaton was perfect. This Batman. So there you go.
All right, Tony.
I don't remember. I probably did see this in the theaters, but I don't remember. But I always liked the very beginning of it with them attacking and everything. What's his name is Shrek.
Walken.
Yeah, Christopher Walken is like crazy. I always thought he looked like Albert Einstein and stuff.
He does.
Penguin Man of the Sewers. I always liked him. And then I didn't know back then. I was 9 years old, so I didn't know the whole Christopher Walken, shtick
Persona.
or anything. Yeah, persona. But he always stuck with me after that. But and then his son is what's his name? His son, not the guy who plays him. He's like known for like action movies as well, right?
Suma interviewed him.
Yeah.
What's that?
I interviewed him.
Yeah, Andrew.
Andrew
Right.
Bruniarski.
Right. Oh, that's the guy you said about watching.
Dad.
watching
Dad. Yeah.
Go, Dad. Go save yourself. But like, I actually like when there's two villains. Like, I like the Joker, but I like when they introduce the two villains. But I think the Joker, Penguin's always. I never really cared for him. Like, he's not scary. He has money in Penguins, I do like. I did like. My God, I'm blanking on names today.
Michelle Pfeiffer?
No, well, I was 9 years old. I didn't like her like that back then. But who fucking played the Penguin?
Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito. Jesus. Like I like the character of the Penguin, but I don't like the Penguin. I actually like the Penguin in Gotham more in the show. Yeah, I liked him. But I always had a soft spot for this movie. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what to say about it. It's interesting going back now and watching it and seeing things, like again, him lighting guys on fire. It's like, I didn't think Batman would do that, and dynamite and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's funny, cool. Everyone who criticized BVS because the Batman's killing people. It's like, he killed people in both of these movies.
Yeah.
People, missiles and guns were firing at the Joker in the first Batman. What do you think Batman was trying to do? Scare him away?
Right.
People always
Didn't even do that.
Yep.
Yeah.
No.
And then in the beginning where she's playing tic-tac-toe, that's what's his name from Predator.
Yeah.
Predator 2, I mean.
It's that guy
Scorpio.
That's everything. Yeah, Scorpio.
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 But
all right.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like it.
All right, Ian.
Well, how negative can I be, Samurai?
Oh.
Be as negative as you want, my friend.
Can I let it spill?
Let
I was really looking forward to watching this again because I had seen it in the theater and I remember it leaving a bad taste in my mouth. Okay. And as a movie buff and a fan, I like to watch a lot of reviews. And since YouTube's come out, there's lots of people who give lots of reviews. And all the reviews have been saying things like, oh, it's not as bad as you thought it was. You need to go back and rewatch it. And if you just watch it as a Tim Burton film and you don't think of it as a part two and yada, 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 and blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, I've been wanting to see this again. And I could not be more disappointed.
Wow.
This is Tim Burton at his worst. This film makes Batman and Robin look like a good film.
Oh my God! Wow!
I just
You're trying to drop the New Year's ball early, man. Hold on a That's good timing on that.
That's awesome.
Whenever you are watching a superhero movie, there's always an element of unbelievability, of course, and to the degree in which we all accept and reject those things is extremely personal. I think, though, one of the standards is you want it to make sense within the storyline itself. You want it to make logical, cohesive sense. And this just did not. I mean, here's this Penguin guy who for some reason can amass a huge army of people and have all of this technology, and somehow he needs Max, what's his name, to help him find his parents or something, and then he puts in this. Like there was that the big where he makes his appearance and he shoots people and everything, and then the next thing you know, he's running for mayor. Like, why aren't people arresting this guy? And talk about Batman Returns. Batman is in this show for a whole 31 minutes. The movie is 2 hours and 6 minutes. So I find that a little too cringy. And now I do have to say it was the 90s and it was the early 90s, and we were just kind of trying to define ourselves from the 80s. And we were basically throwing things against the wall and seeing what would stick and what wouldn't. And some things stuck and some things did not. And this one didn't stick. I thought the Michelle Pfeiffer, one thing that we all like about superhero movies is we want to see good origin stories. I mean, that's what draws us to these superhero movies. We want to see a good origin story. This was the lamest origin story I've ever seen. I mean, we don't know why she's Catwoman. She falls out of this building and cats run over the top of her. I'm like, what's this? The next thing you know, she's this totally different kind of personality. Like, what exactly happened? With Batman, we know what happens. Even with the Penguin, we know what happens. With Spider-Man, we know what happens. And in the story, it makes logical sense. But in the story with this, it made no logical sense whatsoever. And I could go on and on, but I didn't care for this movie at all.
It still was better than the Halle Berry Catwoman.
Oh, yeah.
I refuse to watch it.
Yeah.
It could be worse.
Agreed.
Than Halle Berry Catwoman. Yeah.
Although the new Catwoman does look good, the new one with Zoe Kravitz.
All right.
That's my opinion. I'm sorry.
No,
I try to
here. Free speech.
Show's over. We're done. We gotta go.
Let me say a couple positive things about it, because no one's 100% on anything, even on being terrible. No one's 100%. So the emanations of the character were unique, and I did like them. I did like the way the Penguin was. He was dark and gritty, and I did like Michelle Pfeiffer in that costume. Boy, she is a fox. And the acting was great. The acting was really good, and the score was good as well. But as far as the movie goes, I had to watch it in pieces, quite honestly. I'm like, is this real? I mean, do people actually like this? So anyway, all right, I will shut up. Sorry, I'm being too negative.
Can I say one thing to retro?
I just want to make sure you felt this way when you first saw it back in the day too.
I didn't care for it back in the day, but I didn't. Okay. I wasn't watching it with the critical eye. Yeah, back in the day, I just was like, there was something not right. But yeah,
right. Okay.
Go ahead.
Copy that. Rob.
I want to say something to him. I want to say something. I like your shirt.
Oh.
That's about all I liked about what you said.
Oh wow. What's your shirt? Hold on, let me blow you
up. Farms!
Shirt from the office. Good.
All right, Rob.
All right. So, Spider-Man was so good. It's like I was just...
I haven't even seen a commercial.
Oh, spoiler, man.
No,
I haven't even seen a commercial.
No, no. Batman Returns. I remember when I watched it. I certainly didn't like it as much as the first one. I agree with Rick and Frank in terms of the Penguin. And look, this is not a knock on Danny DeVito, because I think he did a great job acting. I mean, he's great in the movie itself, his acting job. But I think they dropped the ball on the opportunity with utilizing Catwoman exclusively and building on her rivalry with Max, because it starts off that way. Obviously he's the one that pushes her out the building, and then later it kind of shifts where Max is kind of like with the Penguin, and then you don't really see that payoff between Max and Catwoman until the end. But in between that, there was no conflict buildup. So, it should have been a movie, in my opinion, where Batman is trying to somewhat guide Catwoman, and she's like a firecracker. She's an unpredictable, because that's kind of how she's always been. She's never really been good. She's never really been bad. She's always been in that gray area. And that would have been perfect for this movie, because that Batman knows Max is bad. Batman wants to bring him in, but he also doesn't want him to be killed, which is something Catwoman... That whole segment right there, that whole focus, I think would have been good enough. I think the reason, and this is just my opinion, why Penguin was brought in, because with Catwoman, you don't have those big action set pieces. She's not exactly a villain that travels around with a posse, so to speak. And I think that's maybe why they probably went that route. But Michelle Pfeiffer was so great in this movie. In terms of like the music, like Danny Elfman's always been good. I will say one of his other best sound scores is of course Spider-Man. So let's not forget he did the original Spider-Man movie soundtrack. But I do think iconically Batman is definitely his number one in terms of the score. I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's as bad that it's worse than Batman and Robin. And I'm known to shred movies, you know that, Phat Samurai Guy. So, but I will say that I think it was a missed opportunity to have back in those days, where this is a big topic now, and I understand back then why this would have been a bigger deal because, yeah, leading men, especially in action movies, always got the shine. This would have been a great opportunity to organically have a woman just running the villain show because she just stole the scenes, man. She was just, not only because she looked good, but she just, if you remember Michelle Pfeiffer in roles prior to this movie in the 80s, she was always the cutesy, kind of innocent girl in these movies. This one, she was dark. She was vindictive. She was really good dark humor. And she told the line. You never kind of really knew where she was going because on one hand she'll save somebody, and the other hand she's trying to kill somebody. So she was definitely a more appealing character than the Penguin. But this it wasn't as good as the first one, and I didn't like the story with the Penguin with the whole flippers and all that shit. I wasn't like that wasn't for me. You
didn't like the speech.
Yeah,
the patent speech to the Penguins.
Yeah, I wasn't buying that. But and then last thing I want to say is, because I know one thing I wanted to touch on what Rick was saying about them choosing Michael Keaton. We all know that there's always that criticism when you pick a certain actor to play an iconic role. It's happened for years. But Michael Keaton has so much range that I don't think a lot of people are aware of because he has done comedy. Obviously, he's done Batman, but he plays Psycho really good. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, look for a movie called Pacific Heights. And Pacific Heights, man, if you haven't seen it, that is a Michael Keaton movie that you will be like, wow, I didn't know this dude could, you know what I mean? So definitely, it also has Matthew Modine and Michelle Pfeiffer in that one. I mean, not Michelle Pfeiffer.
Fantastic in the Birdman. And I think we should have won Best Actor for that. I think he lost, right? Yeah.
He lost.
Yeah, I think so.
Should have won that.
Yeah. All right. Copy that. Alex.
I have a soft spot for Batman Returns because it happened to be the first movie I ever saw in a movie theater.
Wow.
Batman '89 being the first movie I ever saw, period. And so I have my memory of it is pretty fond. Although, I don't know if anyone else feels this way, but when I was a kid, really young, I didn't really have an opinion of movies. I mean, obviously there are movies I gravitated towards, and there are ones that were if it was really off-putting, then I would, not want to see it. But I found especially with sequels, because I loved Batman. I don't know if I loved Batman Returns, but I watched it ad nauseum. I think if I were to form an opinion, it's different. It's part two. I felt that way about Ghostbusters 2 or RoboCop. So that's kind of my memory of it. And I have been watching it semi-regularly. It had not been a long time since my last viewing. I've seen it, through my teen years. I've seen it through my adult years. A lot of people talk about the comic inaccuracy, touching on Catwoman's origin and Penguin's origin and whatnot. The story, if you put a gun to my head and asked me to make sense of it, I would be a dead man. And also, everyone talks about how Penguin didn't scare them. Penguin kind of scared me, not as much as Max Schreck. Max Schreck definitely scared me. But I think especially towards the end, when he's, spoiler alert, coming out of the water with the black coming out of his mouth. That was, as a kid, that was quite horrifying. I picked the cute one. I'm surprised no one's mentioned the Penguin's dialogue. They say when Ninja Turtles came out, the live action one, it's dark. Raph says, damn, it's violent. Yeah. Leo actually cuts people with a sword. Do you hear what the Penguin says in this movie? Like talking about filling people's voids and
Oh yeah, he's gross.
blowing up babies' erogenous zones during his patent speech. Obviously, things that went over my head as a kid, but as an adult, I'm just like, what is this? I don't know if this adds to the movie. It's funny. It makes for a great drinking game. Really odd. I will say though, I love Tim Burton's style, and really, this movie is as Tim Burton as it gets.
Yep.
It may not be the best Batman movie, but as a Burton fan, I love its look. I love, of course, Danny Elfman's score. It has a style that really stays with me, and it makes it unique. Especially this day and age, we have so many iterations of Batman, which I think is great to have that choice. You could pick your favorite. If you like the Nolan Batman, then just go with that. I think and this is true with a lot of Batman movies, it's really about the villains. Like I think it was Ian that said Batman screen time is like 5 seconds. It really is about Catwoman and Penguin, and even though they're not comic accurate, I actually liked what Burton did in infusing them with the grotesque. Penguin being like I guess almost like a half penguin, and Catwoman being a kind of cat zombie woman. Still don't understand how that happened, but there's an element of an element of dark fantasy to these characters that they added, and not just regular people with psychological issues. I mean, they have that too. But there's that fantastical element, which I think is pretty cool, and I think it was easier to accept because I had watched it young. If you watch it now, I mean, as an adult, if I watch it now, I might be like, interesting direction. But overall, I like its style more than anything, and a lot of great set pieces, in my opinion. Some unintentionally funny, but like when Penguin takes over the Batmobile, and he somehow has built.
It's like one of those kids' toys, like one of those kids' amusement rides.
Yeah, I always wanted one of them. I always wanted that thing.
Yeah, don't know where he got it, if they built it, if they stole from mall. Was Batman that popular? Was the public that accepting of Batman at the point? I don't know, too many questions. That's what the movie is. It raises a lot of questions, and sometimes a good film, makes you think. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. So since you saw this before you saw the first one, did you enjoy this more than the first movie? Because sometimes that's actually happened. There's people that have seen Batman Returns first. They didn't see Batman first, and then when they see Batman with the Joker, they still like it, but they still like Returns better. Are you that way?
Oh no, I actually did see the first one first. It's just I saw the first one on video. Okay. And then my first time going to a theater was the second one. So.
Right. I've heard people say that, though. Those that have seen Returns first, they actually like it better than the first.
Rick has a question.
I got a question. I just have a comment. In terms of, sometimes a movie will make you think. Every movie will make you think. My question is always, what does the movie make you think? And in this case, Batman Returns made me think. It made me think you shouldn't have put the second villain in.
Right.
Carry on.
All right. Neko.
So, this is one of my favorite movies ever.
All right.
and can I just say this too? I love Batman. I mean, I'm a huge Batman fan altogether. And I like Tim Burton quite a bit, actually. Okay, so it's not a Batman thing, and it's not a Tim Burton thing. It was a this movie thing. So
it's not personal. It's just good business.
It's not you. It's me. Honestly, for me, it's Catwoman, and Neko is cat in Japanese, and I stole that as my DJ name from this game I play called Neko Itsumi. I did not know that when I was 12 years old, when this movie was released, I would turn out to be a crazy cat person. I dressed up like Catwoman. I had Catwoman folders and binders and stickers and pens. Our cat is named Miss Kitty, so this is too much. Like, I am obsessed with Catwoman.
Yeah.
So for me, it's easy to just I ignored Penguin, especially when I was a kid. And I can't believe, like, my mother let me at 12 years old have that costume that Michelle Pfeiffer has and wear that and go trick-or-treating. But my mother, she was like, whatever, you do you. And well, you know how my mom is. But I did not pay a lot of attention to the Penguin. We just recently rewatched it, and I hadn't seen it in a couple of years. And like Alex was saying, he's gross. He says some of the most vile things, and I'm like, I don't remember this. Yeah. So I don't remember this because I tuned everything out because all I was obsessed with Catwoman. I don't know why. It just really stuck to me as a kid, and I just watched it. Another one of my favorite movies is Pee-wee's Big Adventure. So seeing Pee-wee, and then I forgot the actress's name, but she played Simone in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, and that was Penguin's mom and dad at the beginning. And I looked at him and I was like, that's them. And like, I completely forgot about it because we just rewatched it. And those are the type of things that I take back. And every time I watch this movie, it just brings me the joy I had as 12-year-old me pretending that I'm Catwoman, doing cartwheels and round-offs in the back, out on the fields thinking that I'm freaking Catwoman. And I don't know why I gravitated to this movie so much as a kid, because maybe I just thought it was awesome. I don't know. I watched the first Batman, and we had it on VHS in my house, so I rewatched it many times. But when Batman Returns came out, I was so dialed in. Like, I went to the movies and saw it multiple times. My birthday is in November, so like I had October, Halloween, my birthday, Catwoman, everything. And I don't know how I got obsessed with Catwoman. I didn't even own a cat back then, so it was just like insane.
All right.
Your turn.
Look, lady, we're just security guards. You're overpaid. My best line in the entire film. And really, it's kind of funny because as good as an actor as Michael Keaton is, he's like one of my least favorite Batmans. And like,
or would it be Batman?
Batman. But it's funny how, like, in the first one, he was overshadowed by Nicholson, and in this one, he's overshadowed by Pfeiffer. Mm-hmm. But I agree with both Rick and Rob that the second villain thing just does not work at all. Like, I don't even like the look of Penguin. I know it's what Burton does, but I really, really hated it. And I like DeVito because he's great in other things, but did not like this character. I think Michelle Pfeiffer was strong enough where she could have carried this entire film as a villain. I felt the same way with Batman Forever with Carrie. I don't think Two-Face was needed in that one. So it's really, that's kind of like how this series went in the 90s. It kept adding more and more crap that just cluttered everything. And I really, really hated that. Interesting thing about Walken's character, Max Schreck, is also the name of the vampire in Nosferatu. So that's very cool.
That is interesting.
One of my favorite things, though, was remembering around the time that this movie was being made that there was a big hoopla about Sean Young who wanted to be Catwoman.
Yeah.
And she was making such a big deal about it. She would go on late night television and complain, says, I should be the one. The reality is Michelle Pfeiffer was it. She is the Catwoman.
She owned the role.
Back to Keaton a little bit. Good Batman. I actually like him a lot better as Vulture, which I don't know why, because I don't know much about the character, but I really like him in that role. And as far as like the world building, that goes back to the added villains. Like, they didn't even bother to kind of stretch this stuff out to go further and further. They just crammed everything into all these movies. It fell apart. I think they did a better job when Nolan did his trilogy when they started doing that. So.
And the one thing I found interesting about Penguin was, like, this version of Penguin with, like, the flippers and the deformities and, like, being gross, that was kind of like the Tim Burton idea. Because in the past, if you would look at Penguin, he was, like, rich, a gangster, like, not maybe gangster's not the right word, but he was like that kind of super villain. Here he is like this gross dude that lives in the sewer. And I kind of like, I don't know if I appreciated that, but I found that after Batman Returns came out, the animated series came out, and they really played off of these roles that Burton kind of had put onto these characters.
I think he just took that role too literally. Like, it didn't need to be.
You think he was like doing like a whole character acting thing?
But yeah, I just, Michelle Pfeiffer's amazing in this film. She's like the best part about it for me. I do like Walken, but go ahead, Rick. Sorry.
Oh, no. I apologize. Pfeiffer was not originally cast. It was originally Annette Bening who got pregnant.
Right. Oh wow! I can't picture Annette Bening.
That's right.
Well, I read there was actually a lot of women that Gina Davis apparently tried out for it, and there was a few others that I was kind of surprised. That I think Bridget Fonda was another one.
I didn't know her whipping the heads off of the mannequins was real.
Real, yeah.
That was really her doing that. I was like,
she's honing her Indiana Jones.
Danny DeVito really ate that fish too.
No,
really?
Oh, there you go.
Oh my goodness! My goodness!
Before we move on, I'd like to say Ian's favorite line of the movie has to be "Eat floor, high fiber."
That is actually one of my favorite.
Isn't that your favorite line, Ian?
Yeah, I guess.
And then he gets
I guess out of all the lines,
I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing
it had
with
to
you.
be that one.
I thought we had something.
I'm just messing with you. All right, Iron 3.
My favorite line was,
all right.
Why did you dress up like a cat? You're fired.
Iron Man 3. Let's go ahead and fast forward here.
Oh.
Go ahead, Rick.
Okay.
So you go ahead, Samurai. I'll change when it's my turn.
Okay, cool.
Ease to change.
I'll come to you a little later when you're ready. All right, Iron Man 3. So Iron Man 1, no expectations. Went in, was blown away. I was like, wow, I'm an Iron Man fan now. Because in the comics, I was always off and on with Iron Man. I was like, he's all right, you know. But sometimes I'd like him, sometimes like, okay. And then I saw the movie, I was like, holy shit. I mean, Stan Winston did the design of the suit, you know, and, you know, it's just a great movie overall. And it kicked it off, man. Kicked it off. Iron Man 2, saw the trailer for it, and was just like, just seeing that shot of War Machine next to Iron Man, just fighting together. I mean, this is pre-Avengers, so this was like a big deal. Me and Lady Fabula were like, oh my God, this looks amazing. And then we saw the movie, and we were like, oh, damn it. They fucked that up. Yeah, so Iron Man 2 kind of pissed me off. There's parts of Iron Man 2 that's good. Mickey Rourke was wasted, but we were really disappointed that awesome scene was like literally 5 seconds at the end of the movie. We were like, oh, well, that fucking sucked. All right, anyway.
When you use the word wasted, do you mean that he was wasted in the film or he was wasted on the set?
Was his talent wasted?
Because both are true.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. But
oh my God.
But yeah. So when Avengers came out, we enjoyed that, and then Iron Man 3 was right around the corner. So we're like, all right, we like us some Iron Man. Let's go see it. And I don't know what happened. Why I saw it alone. I think it was Lady Fabula's work schedule or something like that. But I went to go see it by myself, and when I came out of the theater, this was my thoughts of the movie. I was like, it was good, right? Like I was like, I liked it.
It's supposed to be good, right?
It's good, right? I had fun, right? Yeah, I think I liked it, Oh boy. And then reality set in, and I was just like, oh fuck. You're gonna throw in an annoying little kid, Samurai Guy doesn't like that. And what's weird about this movie is it just didn't feel like an Iron Man movie. It felt like a spy movie. Did you guys realize that even the end? Where's the hard rock AC/DC Black Sabbath in the
There was no
credits,
AC/DC.
Even in the credits, it was like some 60s orchestral music score. Like I was like, I'm like, what the hell is this? And it was just kind of like, did you guys enjoy Tony Stark having a body count? Tony Stark was Splinter Cell James Bond in this movie, and he killed a lot of people. I don't think
we kept saying it was like a James Bond film.
Yeah, it just something just again going back to what I said about Batman Returns, something fell off about Iron Man 3. Now, I mean, come on, Robert Downey Jr. is entertaining. There's definitely entertaining moments in the movie. There's some solid action in it. Yeah. The Mandarin thing, you know what's funny? Everybody hated that the Mandarin was fake. And I would have rather the Mandarin been real and Ben Kingsley be the Mandarin, you know, just to get an interesting, serious villain in the Marvel ranks here.
Wait a minute.
So I would have rather they kept this real and not being a hoax. But Ben Kingsley is so entertaining as an actor that I was actually laughing my ass off when it was revealed that he was just an actor. I didn't like take it personal. Like, you've ruined my childhood because the Mandarin is a fake.
God.
I was actually laughing because Ben Kingsley, just his performance, it's really funny. So I actually did. It didn't bother me that much.
My God.
Oh my God.
You know, but I thought it was funny. But I would have rather have been serious for sure. But yeah, can we stop this, please? Can we stop? Guy Pearce looks fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Can we stop
That's
our
Mark
villains? Oh, ugly, and they have buck teeth, and they're nerdy, and they're outcasts. And
I've been following your work for years.
And then they get a glow up.
And then when they become badasses later, oh, they're handsome and everything's great.
He's like, look, I'm perfect.
Please stop doing this. You know,
it is quite a trope.
Even in Amazing Spider-Man 2, Electric Boogaloo with Electro, as soon as he got his powers, Jamie Foxx's fucking gap in his tooth healed. Are you fucking kidding me?
I never paid attention to that. Oh my God!
And the movie made it. They made it a point to visually zoom in with CGI to show you that the gap in his tooth is fixed.
Oh my!
Can we stop doing
up.
this? Please.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
I'm not making this up.
I never even finished that movie. I hated it so much.
But yeah, no more of this. I actually like Guy Pearce as an actor. I don't know about him as Killian in this movie and his character. I don't know what to feel. I've seen him do better work. You know, I love him in Ravenous and other movies. You know, I just Frank throwing it in. Prometheus.
There's only one Killian to me. Running Man Killian.
There you go. But yeah, can you watch this movie and have fun with it? Sure. Can you sit down with Bobby and Timmy and Billy and have fun with the kids? Yeah. You know, it's just I bought this on Blu-ray and never watched it.
Oh my!
Like I just bought it on Blu-ray just because I'm collecting the Marvel movies at the time. And I just never watched it. I literally just rewatched it yesterday, and I didn't even get up to get it out of the fucking wallet. I just went straight to Disney Plus.
Right. That's what I did too.
It's fine. There you go. It's all right. All right, Rob.
Iron Man 3. So yeah, when I first saw this movie, I did not like it for that very reason about the Mandarin. I'm a little bit serious I'm a little bit serious sometimes about my Marvel comics, considering I have a lot of Avenger comics sitting in my trunk. So
I get it. I understand for sure.
But I watched it recently. When I say recently, not like necessarily for this, but like 6-7 months ago maybe.
Okay.
And my opinion has completely flipped because when you go beyond what goes on with the Mandarin, this is a very, very good story about Tony Stark.
Yes.
Because he's going through post-traumatic stress syndrome in this movie based on what happened in Avengers. What I appreciate about this, what I appreciate about this movie is that you get to see Tony be the hero without the suit, which I think gives a little bit more to the character, because one of the arguments you could always make with Tony Stark was, well, what is he without the suit? And this movie kind of shows you that even going through the mental stress of what happened in Avengers, having anxiety issues, breaking down, he still rose to the occasion to kind of get through this without relying on the suit. That's not to say that the movie's perfect. I'm with other people in terms of the Killian villain, and then him at the end saying he's the Mandarin. Ben Kingsley, again, upon second, watch, it is hard to not appreciate the fact that he's night and day in this movie. I mean, he is literally scary until the point you find out that he's just a hoax. And then when he's the hoax, he's incredibly funny. Has one of the best action set pieces at that time with the plane crash and all the passengers falling. And Iron Man single-handedly saving them one by one and connecting them, and that was a great sequence, an absolutely great sequence.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's, I'm a Captain America fan. I mean, the shield's there, my shirt, you know what I mean. So, and I do believe that Captain America's overall his trilogy is better, but this movie on a more singular level in terms of focusing on Tony Stark. This is, in terms of the character, the best Tony Stark movie. I guess this is what I'm trying to say. Iron Man, the best Iron Man movie is Iron Man 1, but the best movie about Tony Stark, the character, is Iron Man 3, in my opinion. So I liked it on the second viewing. Right. I had a better understanding and got out of my head. I got over the whole Mandarin, hoax. So, yeah.
Copy that. All right, Ian.
Wow. Well, I thought it was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. One of the flaws that I have in my own life is I'm not a comic book fan. I'm a movie fan, but I'm not a comic book fan, so I don't really know how these kind of stack up to the comic books, other than talking to people who are in the comic book, and then telling me and learning from them that way. So I don't really know all the differences between these villains, and I just know how it is presented to me on screen. And I actually really enjoyed the film. Of course, Iron Man 1, because I wasn't into comic books, I didn't really know Iron Man, but the film got me into Iron Man, and I loved it. And I didn't mind Iron Man 2, and I liked Iron Man 3. And for a lot of the same reasons people are saying they either liked it or disliked it, a detective show, a spy show, or whatever. Well, I like spy shows, so I was gravitated toward that aspect of it. These are, one thing I have to say is I am really happy. I am, elated that Stan Lee got to live to see what he envisioned for his characters to be able to do. You know what I mean? They can and not be cheesy or campy, like on a string flying through the air, but you can actually make people look like they're flying through the air. So I'm really happy that he got to live to see that. I thought that the Mandarin, I liked it. I mean, it was a fun plot twist, and I thought that Ben Kingsley was just like amazing as far as an actor is concerned. You see him be this Mandarin serious character, and then just be this total drugged out cut up. And it was great to see him flip flop in that role, and I thought that was an interesting plot twist. And I thought the Rebecca Hall character was an interesting plot twist as well, but she wanted to turn back and got killed as a result. These are mass-produced shows for your entertainment, and for what they are, I think they are great. Okay, and what I mean by that is if you liken it to like fast food. So if you like if I ask you what you like better, do you like McDonald's, or do you like Burger King, or do you like Wendy's? We all know what kind of movie we're dealing with. We all know what kind of food we're getting. We're not comparing McDonald's to the steakhouse. We're comparing it to other shows. And I do understand that they are mass producing these, but they're doing it for the entertainment value. And I loved it for what it was. So for me, this gets a big thumbs up. I loved the show. Was it perfect? Of course not. It wasn't perfect. I mean, there are these little flaws in it. The one thing that I really like, and I said this is what I didn't like about the last film, is its logical consistency within the film. Within the film itself, there's a logical consistency. And that's one of the reasons I didn't like the last film. So everything has some unbelievable factors to it. I get it. There's unbelievable factors to it. So if I say, you know, all dogs can fly, I have a dog, therefore my dog can fly. That's not real, but it's totally makes total logical sense given the premises. And I felt that Iron Man lived up to those premises.
All right. Rob, really quick. This is a question for Rob. Is this the first movie, one of the main criticisms you get from Marvel movies is inappropriate jokes at serious times throughout off and on throughout the movies. Do you think Iron Man 3 started that? Because that was one of the complaints. They were like, oh, Pepper Potts technically died right in front of him, and he's already cracking jokes right after that.
I don't necessarily know if Iron Man 3 started that, but that is a common theme, even in tonight's Spider-Man movie that I saw.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're still doing it.
Don't ask me multiple questions.
Inform us, Rob.
Okay. I didn't know if Iron Man 3 kicked that off. Because even when she came back to life at the end, he was like, hey, how you doing? How's it going? All right, glad to see you're back.
But
I'm glad you're not dead.
He just can't be serious though. Like that's just his persona, you know. He's probably just so relieved that's how it came out. Like,
yeah, I think he can get away with it more than other Marvel characters can. Yeah, that's a good point.
All right,
same thing
Tony.
with Spider-Man. He has that like
the quick
sarcastic side to him.
Right.
Yeah. Oh,
right, but go for it, man.
Yeah, I saw this. I only saw this twice now. First time, I was like, I don't like this movie at all. I never watched it again. Then I watched it for tonight, and I liked it way more this time but I was thinking too, like it's more of a Tony Stark movie, and like Rob said, Iron Man's a good Iron Man movie. This is a good Tony Stark movie. I like the first Iron Man movie is fantastic. Second one I'm not a fan of. This one I like more than the second one now.
Okay.
I like the action a lot in it, like the whole like last scene with all the suits come around and stuff like that, like different types of suits is really cool. It's funny though watching how it's almost clunky because he's just getting used to the whole putting his arms out and it flies to him, while now he has those like nanobots or whatever, and it makes the suit like appear and everything. So I'm used to like the newer suits where it forms around him, while these are all big and heavy. But not that I'm used to it. I shouldn't say that. Like it's around. I know that, like that. I think that's cooler. I guess that just sticks in my head. But I'm not really a fan of Pepper in these movies. I wish she wasn't in them, and her becoming like like that. I don't care about her. I don't care. She got thrown in that fire. It's like, well, he'll get over it, But he's like, why don't you dress like that all the time at home? Sports bra.
Right.
I like how it burned up everything butter bra. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I did like a lot more. I think it's. I don't know why he has to be such a jerk to that kid. It's like he very technically broke into his house, and he's like, "You're a mechanic, aren't you? Yeah, build something." Okay, and then he builds out cool stuff. Take out those guys, the little Christmas ornaments that blow up. That was pretty neat. But yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot more this time, and I feel like when he was having like his anxiety attacks, like he played it off very, very well.
Yeah.
Because like I know what that's like. No, I never was that extreme. At least I don't think I was. But yeah, I liked seeing the side of Tony more vulnerable and stuff too. And as far as the joking wise and all that, I like it. It's like I said,
it's a deflection.
That's just how he is. I know people that literally laugh at funerals.
I do too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's very awkward, but like that's how they deal with it.
That's like their coping mechanism.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
My I just want to say real quick. It's funny. My wife is somewhat like that. Only she gets like that when people get injured. So whenever I've had a serious injury or like twist my ankle, fall, she actually laughs at me. I'm on the floor writhing in pain, and she's cracking up.
Yeah.
And but it seems messed up, but that's her way of dealing with it and
Yep.
trying to like calm down and okay, let's assess this. You need to go to the hospital type thing. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, let's keep it going, Frank.
So yeah, I mean, I had the same experience about the mechanism. Like I was watching West Side Story the other night at the theater. So in the final scene when Tony got shot and then as he was dying, come on, you got.
I'm only
West Side
kidding.
Story, come on.
No, I saw it. I was only kidding.
Okay. So
I didn't get
that's what-
shot.
Okay. So when Tony got shot as he was dying, he started singing to Maria. Remember at the last scene, and this guy in the theater just started laughing out loud. And at first I thought, well, what's so funny about it? And I realized, like Rob said, that's how he's coping with this scene because you don't expect someone who's about to die to start singing. So I guess that to him is like that's how he coped with it. So anyway, I totally agree with Tony. I have the same feeling with Tony. I saw this in the theater back then. I think the idea, the discovery that the Mandarins are fake was so shocking to not just me, but probably like the entire audience at my show. Really kind of affected my impression of the film. It made me sort of didn't like it as much as I should. And so for this episode, I actually rewatched it for the first time, and I had a complete, 360 viewpoint. This is a fantastic film. For one thing,
Wow, look at that.
And for one thing, it moves. It's like it just keep on moving. The story, the narrative, the action just keep on moving. It never lets up. And that 2 hours just flew right by. Second, the special effects are just amazing. I mean, the all the effects are just amazing. It's so real. From the rescue sequence in the plane to the final fight, to his build, to the dog fight and all that. I mean, all those flying Iron Man, they're so realistic. Not once did you feel these were like CGI. It's very realistic. I mean, just the blending of CGI and real actual, on the location shooting was just pretty seamless. And then I think the reason why I didn't like it initially was because the film set you up so well that of this Mandarin being such a effective, scary villain, blowing up his house and all that. By the time when the twist came, you just couldn't, wasn't prepared for it, But now after Shang-Chi, seeing him again after 10 years, now we're seeing him going back and watching this. It's like it all makes sense now. It kind of makes sense, even though, again, I didn't like, I agree that Guy Pearce shouldn't really be the Mandarin. I really think he should be, he should have been a different villain, not the Mandarin. But like I said, now that seeing Shang-Chi and going back to watching this, it kind of like, yeah, that's fine. This twist is fine. He's great. I mean, Ben Kingston's fantastic in the film. I like the kid. I thought the kid was fine, and he cured Tony's PTSD. I mean, PTSD. So I mean, what else did you ask for? I didn't think he overact. I thought he was great. I thought the kid was great. I like his interaction with Tony. I like all the female characters. I like the guy, the Guy Pearce assistant who kind of turned on him, and like he was like torn between helping Tony, helping
that's Rebecca Hall.
Rebecca Hall, yeah. I like that character. I just think it's a great. The story was great. The script was fantastic, and then as I watched this, I kept thinking, how can Shane Black screw up so much with that Predator movie? He can do so well with this one. How could he fuck up Predator so much? And he did such a good job here, both as a writer, co-writer, and a director. But yeah, I have a complete reevaluation of this film. I think this is a wonderful film. I think, I agree with Rob. This is the best Tony Stark movie. It's not, the Iron Man will always be the best Iron Man movie. But yeah, this is definitely a Tony Stark show. I like all the quips. I like his character. I like his showcasing vulnerability. I like how he comes back, recover and all that. So, wonderful film, and I do intend to rewatch it from time to time.
Wow, look at all these positive comments on Iron Man 3, chat. Are you watching this right now?
And Chad is not agreeing with us, just so you know.
I bet you when Chad arrived, they were like, "Oh, this is easy money.
Yeah.
We already know who's going to win this." I don't know now. I don't know.
Was that kid the other guy at Tony Stark's funeral?
Yes, he was.
Yeah, he
Yes,
was.
that's the same
Kid
kid.
growing up at Tony Stark's funeral.
Yes.
Okay.
All
I
right,
thought so.
Alex, go for it, man.
I had only seen the movie twice, once in theaters, and I didn't hate it actually. I feel like with MCU films, I am incapable of hating them, which is also the same reason why I'm incapable of loving them. I tend to gravitate towards very divisive films. Something that is, I guess, mass-produced or played safe for the most part is something that I enjoy, but it doesn't really scratch like a certain itch. I will make an exception though for like the films that the Russo brothers have done or Taika, because those I've watched repeatedly and I can say I love them. But for the most part, Iron Man 3 included, a lot of them feel just kind of middle of the road for me. However, when I first saw it, I didn't get completely turned off by the Mandarin twist. I know a lot of people are very focused on that, and like as we've seen, it's opinion changing. I was fine with it. I was definitely in shock. I was definitely trying to process what was going on, but it definitely was a blessing in disguise because in Shang-Chi we get Tony Leung's Mandarin, and I loved watching Tony Leung, as I often do. But back to Iron Man 3, I really liked it. Watching it the second time, I find there's a lot of quips that you could miss on just one viewing. I find it really intelligent, really funny. It definitely is Tony Stark's show. And it's, if you love Iron Man / Tony Stark, because they are one and the same, you would definitely enjoy this movie, regardless of how you feel about the story or about the action or anything else, because it's just him through and through doing what he does best, and that really kept me entertained, kept me engaged. The story, the Extremis adaptation they did, I was like, about it. I think one thing that I really appreciate is the humanity that these Marvel movies have. Well, not just Marvel, like a lot of modern superheroes movies do, and that's what makes them kind of more believable. And I find that even if it's involving gods and aliens, they have a human aspect to it, which makes it believable. Even though what is happening isn't really believable in a realistic sense, it's just gripping in a way that, like, yeah, I buy these people, I buy how they feel. But then you see Guy Pearce's Killian in the opening, and I'm like, they just went full Edward Nygma, Jim Carrey's Edward Nygma in Batman Forever. I'm like, okay, like, this is very stereotypical and over the top, and I don't know. It kind of took me out of it for a bit. But thankfully, I got over it, even though later he comes back as a stark opposite, which I guess was the point. But it was really, I just had to comment on it, because when I was watching, I'm like, this is weird. Not only for this movie, but for like all MCU films. This is the most over-the-top character I've ever seen in my life. But I love Guy Pearce. I love his performance. And Ravenous, just need to plug that.
I like Memento personally.
Memento as well, yeah.
Memento. And did you see the remake of The Time Machine? He did a really good job in that as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, overall, it's definitely a Shane Black film. It definitely sticks out. I didn't mind the spy movie aspect of it. I enjoyed the fight scenes with just Tony Stark out of the suit. Those are very gripping. The CG fest toward the end was okay. I didn't think it was bad, but it wasn't, to me, I really liked the middle pieces much more when he was kind of had his back to the wall. And a lot of great ideas. Even in the last fight with the Mandarin, when they both, yes, that moment's great. Because it just shows both their powers, both their strengths happening at once, and just kind of there's storytelling going on with just that one punch. So I enjoyed that. I would have liked more of that. But overall, I will say though, because I was talking about Tim Burton, so I need to keep comparing. The look and the sound of the film wasn't very memorable to me. For me, it was the dialogue, it was the humor. Even the music, it didn't really stay with me. It kind of was just, it was entertaining, but it didn't have kind of that staying power. And also the villains, I have to comment on. Loved the Mandarin's broadcasts when we thought the Mandarin was the Mandarin. Those were some of my favorite scenes in the whole movie, actually. Didn't mind the twist. Killian being the Mandarin or self-proclaimed Mandarin, I think overall, like I said, I didn't find him that interesting of a villain as much as I like Guy Pearce. and I can't think of any other villains who are in the movie. Rebecca Hall was kind of back and
I
forth.
thought that she was actually wasted, to be honest.
She's a great actor, but the scene she was in I thought really good, but her screen time was pretty limited, which I guess made sense overall. I liked it.
I thought the most unrealistic part of the film was how cool Pepper was with seeing Tony Stark's ex-girlfriend, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
She puts up with a lot.
She does. I wanted to mention real quick regarding the music. That's an interesting point you brought up, because one of the things I did notice when I saw this was that the Iron Man theme changes in each movie. This one to me had the best Iron Man theme, but he never really has a singular theme. It's always AC/DC. But in terms, you know how a lot of heroes have a certain theme, like Spider-Man does, Captain America does. Iron Man, in all three of his movies, he has separate themes, and I think that's why the music never sticks, because he doesn't have that one singular signature theme. Everybody relates with the AC/DC because he's always playing it. But to me, the theme he had in this movie was the most memorable one. But yeah, this is something interesting. When you mentioned that, I was like, that triggered my memory, because I love the Iron Man 3 Iron Man theme. I literally hum it. I like it that much. So,
Coming out.
It would have been cool if he would have kept that thing throughout the whole.
Yeah.
After that,
Avengers have a theme.
Yeah.
I'm the same way with the songs, but with the first Batman movie.
The Prince
Oh, that's iconic,
that's
man.
theme.
All right, Neko.
So, the first time I saw Iron Man 3 was yesterday.
Wow.
And it was one of those things where it's not like I didn't want to see it. It just kind of never happened. And it didn't hurt my feelings. It didn't affect any of the other Avenger movies or anything that I've ever watched. So it just never became a priority to me. And this was released in 2012? 13? Something like that. So it was never really important to me to see it, because it just never really affected the overall story arc of what's happening in the MCU. So watching it yesterday for the first time, I'm agreeing with all of you. This was the downtrodden Tony Stark. You really feel his heart. You really see how he is struggling. Honestly, you are kind of getting why Tony is kind of who he is, because he never deals with anything. All you look at is Tony being like, okay, I'm Tony Stark, so I'm just going to be a cocky asshole, and I'm just going to let everything roll off my back. But then this is the flip side. This is where you see Tony Stark being a little bit vulnerable, and I like that. But I just learned that the Mandarin was fake. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. And that's why he and I were I'm like, the Mandarin was, that wasn't Ben Kingsley, what?
You're laughing?
Yes, that's why I'm like.
I was curious about that. I'm like,
she said that to me, and I'm like, what were you watching?
So it took me 4 times to watch Fight Club to understand what was happening in Fight Club. So this was kind of like a Fight Club moment when he's like, that's not the real, and when you're all saying that's not the real Mandarin, I'm like, the other guy, I'm like, son of a bitch. Now I'm reflecting on what I was watching yesterday. I don't think it was a bad movie at all, but if we're not comparing this, clearly this is versus, we're not comparing Iron Man 3 to 2 or 1, we're comparing it to Batman Returns, but you can see it was a different director for Iron Man 3 versus Iron Man 1 and 2. You can clearly see the difference. You can see the tone of the movie is a lot different. You can see, I don't want to call it darker, but maybe a little bit more serious, a little bit not, it is comic booky, but it's almost like they want to dig into Tony Stark's psyche. I do have to agree with everybody else too. When like all the Iron Man suits are doing the Iron Man thing, that was really cool. And then when Tony as Iron Man was saving everybody out of the plane, that was really cool too. You want a superhero to be a superhero, but just learning the whole like I didn't pick up on the Mandarin thing because I'm dumb and I just wasn't paying enough attention. Like that. But overall, it wasn't awful. Like, I think one of the reasons I was avoiding it was, like, I never thought it was important, and I've heard so many people, like, just ragging on it so terribly, and I'm like, I mean, we're not talking like this is a Schindler's List type movie, but it's not awful. It's a good superhero movie, and if you do like the Avengers, if you do like Tony Stark, if you do like Iron Man, you're gonna see, like, a different side. And you know, I like the part where they're looking at the kind of like the memorial, the New York attack memorials. You're really feeling like Tony is just like, and that is a nice side to see, because it's like it sucks. You can see like he's like, this really sucked and it really changed my life. Noobs.
Oh boy.
Oh no, he's got like a list. He's been writing. I don't know if you guys have seen him scribbling down. He's got like a list of grievances. 2 movies
that are at the bottom of my MCU movie list.
Uh-oh.
One is this one, and Thor: Dark World.
You don't like Dark World?
No. Yeah, this is the second time the other night that I've watched this, and then both times I've come out. Like, I do have a little bit better understanding with everything. Rob made a great point about the PTSD.
Mm-hmm.
That's something I caught more this time than the first time. Yeah. And Ian, you're going to have some company tonight, buddy, because Iron Man 2 is my favorite of the damn series. And I'm proud of it.
Wow.
Sam Rockwell killed that movie.
Well, yeah, Sam Rockwell's
awesome.
Yeah. But I think my biggest problem with Iron Man 3 is that when I go into these Marvel movies, I like it to be fun. And I don't get that in this one. It's totally like everyone said. It's like a James Bond spy thriller. And that's okay, but it's not an Iron Man film for me. I don't get anything out of it, really, in terms of enjoyment. It's just part of the story building, I guess, which is, again, fine. I thought Kingsley was great in this, even when I found out he wasn't the Mandarin. I thought his switch to the drug addict was great, and the women and everything else. It really made me laugh. And again, I agree about Guy Pearce. He's not a very interesting villain. I couldn't get involved with the villains here.
You know what he looks like at the beginning? Remember in The Saint when Val Kilmer he's like, I don't know about all this confusion, mumbo jumbo. That's what he looks like.
That's a good movie.
I love that movie.
It is a very good movie.
Sorry.
Yeah, so I don't have a lot to add to what everyone else has already said. It's just, yeah, it's not a very fun movie for me, so it's just hard for me to get into it like some people.
All right. Last but not least, Rick.
All right, we need a shirt reveal.
Well, not just a shirt reveal.
Socks reveal.
Also a sock reveal.
Sock reveal.
Okay, let's see.
I had the Robin sock before. So here, oh, wait a minute. Let me turn it down.
Don't fall for the chair now.
Straight so hard.
Nice.
All right, but now, is there an Iron Man Christmas sweater? I imagine there is, but I don't have it. Let's see if anybody can guess, given who's in this movie, what the shirt underneath is. Does anybody want to guess?
Pepper Potts?
Pepper.
No. Anybody?
War Machine.
Mandarin.
No.
Mandarin.
Close.
The 10 Rings.
It's
Is that what that is?
Shang-Chi.
That is an awesome sweater.
Oh,
That's
okay,
awesome.
yep.
Shang-Chi. There we go.
Shang-Chi.
So now I'm in my Iron Man socks, which match the color of my Shang-Chi Christmas sweater. There we go. Hello, everybody. Now,
Oh,
here's the deal. If this anything that tonight's verses should teach us all is that when you see a movie is important to how you enjoy it. And how old you are when you see it, where you see it, and all the rest of it. Now, Marvel Comics, as we know it, Amazing Fantasy 15 with Spider-Man and the Fantastic Four, they came out when I was at my prime comic reading age. So I grew up with Marvel Comics. I worked at Starlog. I worked at Famous Monsters magazine. I wrote, all this stuff. I wrote the Incredible Hulk novel, all the rest of it. So I got to be on sets. I got to meet everybody and do everything, and that's super cool. And also because I've written a bunch of books about film and lectured on film and taught film at a college and shit like that, I look at film as more than just something I'm going to go to entertain myself. And I was fascinated. And of course, I've always wanted comic book characters to be treated seriously. And DC's record in doing that is really scattershot. Sometimes they do, sometimes they clearly don't. And that's true of everybody else. It bothers me when people lump all superhero movies together, because to me, the reason that Marvel is so successful financially is that they give the audience something that nobody else does. The huge difference in Marvel movies is that the producers, they're not making it, when people talk about fan service, they're not servicing you, they're servicing, if you'll excuse the expression, themselves. Kevin Feige is the biggest Marvel fan I've ever met. He doesn't make these movies for you. He makes them for himself. So when he sits back and he saw Iron Man 1 and he saw Iron Man 2, and they pretty much agree Iron Man 2 was a little off, what are we going to do with Iron Man? So they talk to everybody, they talk to all the directors, and everybody comes in and pitches. This is how we're going to this is where we're going to go. And again, somebody else said this very wisely, this is not an Iron Man movie, this is a Shane Black movie. He wrote Lethal Weapon 1 and 2. Yeah, he screwed the pooch with the Predator movie, but that was his last film. Otherwise, I mean, he's doing an amazing job with his other movies. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang. This was his take on Iron Man, and we're gonna strip Tony of the armor, and we're gonna restart it. Another thing, I've always found that I've always liked Marvel movies better the second time. Because the first time I see the movie, the second time I see the craft, I see what they're doing. I see how they make me care about the character. You can clearly see Warner's does not care about any of the DC superheroes. They're just exploiting them and giving the audience, let's see if the audience buys this. This is good enough for garbage. Yeah, they'll buy anything. Just give them anything. Marvel really, really cares. And it's always, for me, the second viewing. However, on this movie, since I knew I was working for a magazine called Action Films at the time, and I knew Shane Black's work, I was just enjoying this movie enormously. I also enjoy a movie because the first two Iron Man movies you can kind of predict, not really. But in this one, this was another one, and again, I hate to invoke this title, like The Last Jedi, where they kind of we dare you to predict where this is going. We dare you. So every time they have a twist, and every time, I just loved, Frank and I are the big Kung Fu film fans. So when they introduced Ben Kingsley as the Mandarin, I was like, ooh, why can't you cast an Asian? What's the wrong? Oh, you're so mad. And then when the twist happens, I went, genius. Just absolutely effing genius. And he played it perfectly. And also, I love James Bond. For me, this was a better James Bond movie than the James Bond movies were done at the time. So this movie delighted me that they dared to do what they did. Make an Iron Man movie without Iron Man in most of it. So it was and I was so happy when the kid showed up at the end of because another thing I realized, the reason I believe that Tony, because nothing if you watch Hawkeye now, and if you watch Spider-Man No Way Home, nothing is an accident in Marvel movies anymore. They plan everything.
So right.
Everything. And I think the reason that Tony Stark does not have a continuing theme is that Tony Stark is not a hero. He's a heroic, flawed, bad guy. I'm not going to call him a villain because he tries to do what's right, but he does it in a very cynical, negative, egocentric way. So his theme constantly changes because he's not a superhero.
He's narcissistic.
Yeah,
Ultron is a good example of that.
Yeah, Ultron's a perfect example of that.
Tony Stark was the villain in Ultron. He created Ultron.
Essentially,
He created Ultron.
His ego. I mean, you can always tell a computer, I always go, don't blame Hal in 2001: A Space Odyssey. Blame whoever programmed him. Because that's what caused Hal to do what he did, to get paranoid and vengeful. So I loved Iron Man 3. I think it's very special, and I'm looking forward to go back and watching the second Thor, because I want to start, because I feel that's their weakest. But I know if I watch it again, I'll start seeing stuff. And I'll start. That's what they were trying to do, and more power to them. And yes, I agree with Rob enormously. Go see Spider-Man.
Oh my God!
All right, next Wednesday. Next Wednesday, me, you, baby.
So anyway,
there you go.
Are we done? We vote?
We are done. It's time to vote. Our boy up there, Anubis, is the tally worker for today.
Oh, you're letting him do the shady math.
I already know who's won. It's
no
not a big deal.
chads, please.
All right,
I got this.
Eric's still stuck in traffic, so we're going to throw him a bone here. He just
poor
sent
guy.
me his vote.
Did he texted you his vote?
Yeah, he sent me
Oh,
his
that's
vote.
awesome. Oh,
All right,
E-Rock.
Batman for Eric. For E-Rock.
Ooh.
Oh,
He's all like, I'm trying to get there. It's like, it's all right, man. Just send me the vote. It's okay. All right. So Batman for Eric. All right. Alex?
Oh, this was actually a really tough one because we're talking about two different movies made in two different eras where we had two different conceptions of what a superhero movie was. And Marvel, DC bullshit aside, this is like Shane Black versus Tim Burton, really. Like kind of repeating what people have been saying. You look at Iron Man 3 again, and you if you give it another chance, you keep finding, all the things they're doing right and all the detail and all the stuff. But I have to go with more memorable villains, style, the music of Danny Elfman. My vote is Batman Returns.
All right. Neko.
Lost Boys.
My cat, I don't know. My cat's name is Miss Kitty.
Okay.
Batman.
All right. And Anubis.
No contest. Batman Returns or Michelle Pfeiffer.
He's in love with Michelle Pfeiffer, and what really cracked me up, this is just a quickie, he never saw Scarface until I showed him Scarface, and I'm like, you've never seen Scarface? Michelle Pfeiffer.
I still don't remember much of it. I remember Michelle Pfeiffer. I don't remember anything else.
He's got the mug there. Nice.
I've never seen Scarface.
Blasphemy.
Friend. You have your work cut out for you.
There you go. Rob.
It's in my shopping cart on Amazon, if that counts.
There you go.
Man, it's incredible how things have changed. If you had asked me this 4 or 5 years ago, I would have said Batman easily. But really breaking these movies down and looking at them recently, I don't even. And don't get me wrong, the villains are clearly better in Batman Returns, but to me, the heroes rule the day. And this, for right now, for me, Iron Man 3, just clearly, the comparison's not even. It's hard when you just break down what Tony went through, when you go through his story arc, and it kind of ends at this third movie. It doesn't technically end, but his singular story trilogy ends there. To me, it just has more of an impact, even with all its flaws.
All right, copy that. Ian, I know who you got, but let's hear it from the.
Well, this is ultimately it's sad because Batman and Spider-Man are probably my two favorite superheroes of all time. So if this was Batman versus Iron Man in general, Batman would win hands down. But I'm like, are we watching the same movies here, or what's going on? So, hands down, I loved. I really, I couldn't say I love it, but I mean, I really, really, really enjoyed Iron Man 3. I thought it was a great movie. Enjoyed it the first time I saw it. Enjoyed it on the review, and I really, really disliked Batman Returns. So it's going to be Iron Man 3 for me.
All right, Tony.
Going into this, I was like, this is easy, and now talking about it, watching it, and it's like, man. Now, if we're going. I like Batman way more than Iron Man, but based on the action and the story, and everything, believe it or not, I'm going Iron Man.
Wow. I wasn't expecting that from Tony.
I didn't either.
I wasn't either.
No, I enjoyed it a lot watching it today, I'll be honest.
Bandwagoner.
I expected Tony to pick Iron Man 3 because right in the beginning, when he's talking about Batman Returns, he's like, it's fine. So I was like, oh, I already know where he's going.
It's all
All right, where are we at, Anubis? Where are we at?
4-3 Batman Returns right now.
Oh, really? Okay.
It's a barn burner.
Frank?
Like, I agree. This is a tough one. I mean, like, had I not rewatched this Iron Man 3 today, I would thought that, no brainer, Batman Returns. But, after rewatching this, I have to compare. I have to think of all the different factors. The fact that they were made in different eras, different villains, different storyline. And as much as I love the Batman film, I felt that Batman was underutilized in that film. Yeah. One of the villains was not good at all, and just that, to me, those were kind of like the main flaws of that film. As much as how good the music was, art direction, everything. Iron Man 3 is like, wow, I have a complete, rethought of this film, and to have that rescue sequence. And this is one thing I forgot to mention. To have that amazing rescue sequence so late in the film, that could have been the centerpiece of that film, but they chose to they chose to have it almost like near the end of the film, right before the finale. I think that was like a really, really smart move because you didn't really expect such an amazing sequence to pop up so late in the film. But yeah, I mean, the story is great. We're looking at basically, the recovery or the, like the Tony, the come full circle, and Tony Stark story coming full circle. And so you can see, like, I was wearing my Batman T-shirt because I'm all ready to, I was all ready to vote for Batman right here. See, and now I'm afraid. I'm afraid I have to go with Iron Man 3.
No.
Wow! Look at that. So we're tied right now.
Oh, snuggies.
All right, Rick.
Well, first, I want to tell you, because you mentioned her so much, I was special media consultant for the 1985 revival of The Twilight Zone.
Oh, wow.
And we're working at the MTM lot in Studio City. And I was meeting a lot of people. I told you, I think last time, I met Bruce Willis, Wes Craven, William Friedkin, John Milius. It was really great. One day, I am walking up the stairs to one of the producer's office, the great James Crocker, and there was a woman in front of me going up the stairs in front of me. And I was looking at her, I was going, oh, no, this poor girl. Back in my college years in the 70s, I was one of the few men who was clinically diagnosed with anorexia. So I knew what anorexia was. And the woman in front of me was just like a skeleton. A skeleton. I mean, literally the bones at the top of her arm were this thin. And I was saying, oh, that poor girl, because I knew mentally what she was probably going through. And she gets to the top of the stairs, and I get to the top of the stairs. And she turns around, and it's Michelle Pfeiffer. And I go, oh my God! You know, her face is absolutely exquisite, but she was made up of bones, just covered with skin. And I'll never forget that. So yeah, I met, but I also didn't say, do you have anorexia like I used to? No, I didn't say. But I bring it around to this, because everybody was saying that Batman Returns had great villain. I would say no. Batman Returns had a great villain, singular. And that made all the difference. You can tell already. Mandarin, baby. Iron Man.
There you go.
Iron Man 3.
All right.
Wow.
All right.
Marvel.
Samurai Guy's turn. Everybody brought up some really great points today. Even Ian brought up some good stuff. And I do agree with Rob about the PTSD stuff with Tony was actually really interesting. But I don't know, man. It's like better score, better villain. I can rewatch Batman Returns tomorrow. Iron Man 3 is just generic popcorn fluff. It's generic fluff. And even in the MCU fan base, it's their least favorite movie. I'm sorry. I got to go with Batman, baby.
I don't know.
Gotta go with Batman.
Wait a minute. Are we tied?
The audience.
We're tied.
We're tied.
The tie.
Hey, where's your laughing thing? The laughing GIF. Yes. Yes.
Bam.
Yes. Thank goodness.
Another great versus. What a great versus.
I never expected that at all.
Yeah, that's just great.
I don't think anybody expected it to be that close.
No.
Oh, with us, we're a bunch of snobs. It's all right.
We like to get detail oriented.
Yeah, there you go.
Hey, even walking in here, I said to myself, I'll probably go with Batman. Then when I really started breaking it down, I'm like, oh no, wait, Iron Man's got some shit in it that, but they're both very good movies.
Well, I think Samurai hit it on the head. It's really about enjoyability for me, and I'd watch Batman Returns far more than ever with Iron Man 3. And
What's hilarious is that we Iron Man 3 fans would do the opposite. You
know what's even funnier? I'm not even an Iron Man fan. I get into arguments with people in the MCU about Iron Man and Captain America. You know what I mean? I'm not even an Iron Man fan. I'm just trying to be as objective as possible. But man,
what a
great combo!
What a great versus! Everybody brought up some really great points.
I'm on Team Cap, but I love a great movie.
Me too.
Yeah,
I'm actually more Team Cap.
It's all about having a good movie.
Yeah.
Winter Soldier.
Tony Stark's an asshole. Tony Stark is
Tony
clearly
Stark. He is a prick. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
well,
go
this
see
was a
Spider-Man.
blast. Go see Spider-Man. And y'all know
20 seconds.
Y'all know what you need to do. Subscribe.
Who has a dog?
Alex Chung, baby. Subscribe to Alex Chung. That's right. Subscribe to Entertainment Talk Nation. That's right. Subscribe to the Serial That's Retro. All right. Y'all know what to do. Follow Ric Meyers podcast. Subscribe to Mr. Tony of the Dead. He's cranking out the content. He is a badass.
I'm trying to get
That's
that
right.
one.
As well as Mrs. of the Dead as well. She's badass too. That's right. Follow Frank Djeng. That's right. And the Metal Tavern Podcast, baby. That's right. Everybody's information is in the description box below. That's right. Follow these awesome people. And if you're new here, thanks for hanging out with Samurai Guy and subscribe as well. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Before we rock and roll and let it go, you got the new tradition on Versus. Thumbnail pose, baby. Here we go. On 3.
Oh my god.
1, 2, 3. Oh, yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care, guys. And go see Spider-Man.
Go see
Spider-Man!
Sayonara.
And now